Goody goody everyone, this is Dayhawk bringing to you episode 34 of Shaman King 01. So, the last we saw our heroes was where poor Ashiru was executed by the X-Laws, and the gang is shook and pondering on accepting the X-Law's offer to Yo being house descendant. Like, the team is like out of it. And so you see him in the truck, and not inside the truck, but there is like something attaching to the truck with piles of hay, and they're laying on the hay and just still thinking of what happened. And no, it's not Billy. Sorry, it's not Billy. And they're just pondering. And in the next scene, you get to see the Lily Five who are lost. And they come across this bridge. And they're just wondering if their van can cross through it. And so while Sharona gets out of the van and just checks, you get to see a mysterious woman just spying on them. And as Sharona goes deep into the bridge, she gets attacked by that same woman, and she stole her inla, which is this flute she has that contains her spirit, the ghost spirit, not Sharona's spirit. And it was discovered that her name is Childa, who is an old rival of Sharona's, who they haven't seen each other for the last 3 years. And her goal is to eliminate the competition because she's also part of the Shaman tournament. And she figured, well, if I steal her inla, she doesn't have a ghost to fight with, and that means she's disqualified. And so the Lily Five tries to get the flute back, but Chilla escapes, but not before shooting a couple of tires, and then she leaves. And she leaves. You see her riding her motorcycle one way, and the other side you get to see Yo and the team going into the opposite direction. And she stops and notices Yo's oracle bell and decides to follow them. Well, before that, the whole mess, Yo discovers a geyser, and apparently there's a town that is most famous for their hot springs, so they decide to make a pit stop. And that leads them into what I like to call Japantown, because in Japantown, you get to see the buildings are more Japanese based. You get to see people dressed in like samurais, people in kimonos, and trying to get a piece of Japan there in America. I mean, and Ren does not like it at all. He views it as the Americans making fun of Japan, even though he's not in part of Japan. He lives in China, but whatever, right? Let's see. So they get a tour, and they book a hotel that has the hot springs. I'm sure every hotel in that town has their own hot spring, but they booked a hotel while Chilla, I'm sorry if I butcher her name, sorry, spies on them and just planning their next move, which I believe what her plan is to steal objects that house the guardian spirits, and that way they don't have a ghost to compete with and they're automatically disqualified. And so at the springs, they talk about what happened with, with the X laws, House Descendant, and they're having this boy talk while Ryu noticed something weird and like a shadow or whatever, but he knows that something's not right and they're being spied. But more on that later. Meanwhile, the Lily Five are just picked up Chilla's trail and discovers that Chilla can read people's minds and exploits any weaknesses she can to get to win. So they picked up her trail. So apparently they also discovers that she's after Yo in the group. So they were just in a hurry. Um, Meanwhile, after having their bath in the hot spring, they're inside just chilling. And poor Lyserk, he still feels conflicted. He's like disconnected with the group and just decides to get some air while Ryu and Horror were playing ping pong. And I think Yo was sitting in a vibrating chair while Ren was doing something else. Um, so Ryu goes back to the hot spring and then notices Lyserk popping in and asks to join him, and he's like, yeah, sure. And so they were talking, and again Ryu noticed something strange, and then he looks, and there's a shadow, and in the water saw the reflection of Chilla, and so he decided to do a little game. And so Ryu tells fake Lyserk, like, you know, let's stay here and count to 100, and let's see which one of us can withstand the heat. And prior to this, fake Lyserk was talking to Ryu that, hey, I found something weird at this temple somewhere in the woods. Let's go down there and check it out. So Chinla's plan is to lure the team away from each other so it will be easy prey to take whatever it is she wants to take. But leading towards the 100 count, he was counting to 100 to the point where fake Lyserk mysteriously disappears, and Ryu just looks back and discovers this woman all baked and just leaves, and Ryu continues to relax. So Chinla's next victim is Yo, and she uses Sharona's Inla to not only conjure up a fake Lyserk for Ryu, she conjures Anna. So in this scene, Yo is sleeping, and then you see fake Anna just pounding at the window and pretty much tells Yo that we need to go to this temple in the woods, and Yo is like, no, I don't want to go. And fake Anna gets mad, and then next thing you know, Amidamaru with his katana just points it at fake Anna and he just flat out say, "You're not Anna. She's not even in America right now. Who the hell are you?" And she disappears, and Chilla just runs away. And at the end of that scene, of course, Yo knew that Anna was a fake, but gets great satisfaction at the fact that he said no to Anna. And he takes pride, and Amidamaru and Yo just cries in the very end of that scene. Knowing that the fact that they will never get a chance with the real Anna, because the moment you say no to her, ooh, yeah. So Chinla decides to go after Horo, which he was already asleep. Koro was like getting blankets and putting and covering him up, and Chinla and Enla tries to break in the room, and next thing, Koro, just with that mean look at her on her face, uh, blows icy wind to them. They end up becoming frozen, and it just falls off. They fall off. So that failed. Then they tried to go after Ren. They tried to break in, but he was not there. But Ren was behind them. Asked them like, "Who the hell are you? What are you doing?" And they say, "Oh, we're housekeeping." And Ren was like, "Oh, goody! I need target practice. I'm been training this new style, and I need target practice." But the girls just runs off because, mind you, Chinla has her own ghosts, and they're just not just Enla, but her own ghost. I forgot her name, but they both run away, and they're at the end of their rope. Like, they cannot do anything to these boys. But Chinla discovers Lyserk, who is at the pond at a small bridge. Just again, he's out of it. And of course, Morphine was like, still has her sad face. She doesn't know what to cheer up Lyserk. And then this fog appears, like any other scene involving the fake people. Pops Marco. And so Chinla uses Enla to conjure Marco, and that's when Lyserg falls into their trap. So Marco leads Lyserg into this temple in the woods, and of course you see Lyserg running towards fake Marco and just trying to ask questions, and all that. They finally hit the temple, and as Lyserg was about to go inside, you see Chinla next to the temple, getting ready to shoot. Here comes the Lily Five to the rescue, and they blocked so they go between Lyserg and Chinla, and Enla disappears, and the Lily Five have this moment with Chinla from one last time, and they were talking, and next thing you know, Sally with her big mallet just knocks her out and saves Lyserg from getting the morphine's crystal. And here comes Yo and the rest of the gang, because prior to the rescuing, Yo and Ren, Horo, and Ryu were talking that, about what happened to them, and they feared that these people will go after Lyserg, so they went in search for him. And that's where everything gets caught up now. And that's the end, the Lily Five saves the day. Yo is happy because he gets to achieve something that he will never get ever again. And that's it. Oh, and the last scene of this episode, Hal dispatches Boris, which leads into the next episode. The reason I haven't mentioned Anna and Manta is because it's a continuation of them being in Hal's temple. Anna defeats the two demons, and Yome tells Anna and Manta to take the book and go to America and find Yo and have him study the book. And then the epic scene of Hal and the blood coming out of his head and all that. And yeah, that's it. That's the end of this episode. This episode was a fun show because after what happened with Ashiru and the X-Laws, you need a change of pace, and it's gonna get really dark in the next couple of episodes involving Boris. So I'm gonna watch those episodes for the third time, believe it or not, and I will tell you guys what was different compared to what happened a few weeks ago with Boris and the X-Laws and all that. Alright, so this is the end of this video. Thank you for sticking around. This is Dayhawk, and see you all on the other side. Johnny!